Welcome back, everybody. Rich Brubaker here with Grace Han. We just had a great catch-up about the vegan movement, the challenges that present, the opportunities that are in China, some great lessons about staying positive, some things to avoid, but also quite practical as well, like don't quit your day job. Please introduce yourself and the mission that you're on.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm Grace. My mission is to raise awareness of veganism and raise awareness about this way of life.
What are the reasons that people should go vegan?
For each individual, their reasons will be different. You know, some people perhaps more inclined to do it because of the environment, and other people it's because of the health, and then someone else like myself doing it for the animals.
So it's all personal decisions.
For health, I think that's definitely personal decisions, reasons. I think for the environment, you need to think about other people.
So you've been vegan for 3 years. Were you vegetarian before? Were you a meat eater before? Like, what's your own personal genesis?
Yeah, my own transition, the process. I was a full-on meat eater.
Okay.
I was full-on meat eater, and then I was helping dogs and cats. I was rescuing dogs off the trucks who were being shipped to be slaughtered. And then I was a full-on meat eater at that point. So I have some friends in the UK who are already vegan, who are helping me with, volunteering their time to help me with the dog, rescuing dogs and stuff. And then we had a conversation. She was asking, "Oh, Grace, you've been helping dogs and cats. Have you ever thought about the other animals? Just because they've been bred that way, and doesn't mean they should be born to be eaten." And So and then she described, how the process, for a lively pig become pork selling in the market. So the whole process she described to me, and then I checked it out online, and that really shocked me.
At the time, would you kind of consider yourself to be like your average consumer? Like, you just didn't have much thought into the process of...
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. There was, I didn't make the connection until someone pointed out.
What does it mean to be an advocate of veganism? What are some of the challenges of doing, how do you do that in China effectively?
Yeah, so the activities that we do mainly to do vegan outreach dinner parties and film screening. And also we go to events, so we have our own booths. We just basically raise awareness and talk to people, answer some questions, and then we give out leaflets, show and tell, I guess, sometimes, so people can come to us. And even during the events, we always have a Q&A session where people can ask questions, particular questions that they cannot find answers easily online. So they can talk to our volunteers, to get a better understanding of those questions. I think some of the top questions that we got asked is like, where do we get our protein? Where do vegans get our protein? Yeah. And what about vitamins, especially vitamin B12? Yep. It's like
I had that problem.
Yeah, it's a main concern for people. All of a sudden, like, no one cares about B12 before they go vegan, and all of a sudden it's like
your tongue grows twice the size as it should. You're like, oh, B12 deficiency. Okay.
Yeah.
Now in the West, I've kind of always noticed that there's two ways. One is that, it's super healthy and it goes along with your yoga lifestyle, and the other way is it involves the face of a cow. The dark message. Does dark work, or is it better to find ways to inspire, in a different way?
In China, I think it's definitely better to find ways to inspire. Positive messaging goes way further than some of the darker, negative messages. It's because I think those messages work with some people, like people like myself. Those definitely works because people love animals, and then if you use animals as the starting points, those people perhaps get it. But I think the majority are still looking for a way of being inspired and positive. People do not want to see something and then feel sad or being upset.
Sitting here in Shanghai, and you can't see enough of the buildings, unfortunately, but you know, like these people just came off the farm and off a pure vegan diet, and they want to have some meat to show off their wealth. How do you fight that trend? Because that trend is really powerful.
That's a very, very big challenge, you know, because you know the meat industry is a huge industry that we're not up against, but I guess we want to inform people and we want to educate people so people can make an informed decision. We obviously cannot turn people into become vegan overnight. Nobody, I think some people maybe became vegan overnight, but certainly not the majority. I think it's going to be it's going to be a process, but I think the key thing is to be persistent, and you know, you continue to educate people, provide people with these informations so people can learn about these informations which they are not naturally exposed to on a daily basis. So if these information were provided to people in a way that's easy to be found, and then they learn about it, I think some people would, you know, kind of buy into the idea and then make an informed decision.
One of the biggest things that I'm really encouraged by, and we were talking about this, is like what the work that David and Beyond and Memphis and Possible are all doing. How has this changed now that we have, I won't even call them fake meats anymore. Like fake meat was like tofu with some starch and made, like they were trying to like literally make it was a very different product. But these new burgers, the hot dogs, the real replacements, right? Like it's got the texture, it's got the taste, it's got the smell. Like, is this a game changer?
For the majority, this is definitely a game changer because people would need something to help them transit. Nobody's gonna be from eating full-on meat to just like chewing vegetables overnight. And then there has to be something, you know, for people to realize when they become vegan, they're not sacrificing anything.
You know, I've been watching, you know, David's been launching a lot of stuff, and you know, you see that people want to buy that product even over normal, say, let's just call it animal-based proteins, right? Does that signify that actually people are, I mean, they're aligned with this, they just are looking for those options? I mean, what does that say to you that the business side of veganism is really proving that people don't want animal-based proteins?
I think people are very curious about veganism, and some people are very curious about it, and then these kind of products come out, they like to try, and I think a lot of people, they perhaps thinking about trying vegan or become vegan, they're hesitant about it just because they do not know there are other alternatives, and then they do like the taste and texture of meat, and they did not know there are these food products that they actually can have. So if those are made available to people and convenient, I think a lot of people would definitely at least try it.
So what are the 3 myths of veganism that people should just ignore and just get over that hesitation?
The 3 biggest myths, I think it's maybe is when you become vegan, you only eat grass. You don't you cannot eat the same food that you eat before. I think this is a worry for a lot of people. Like people, maybe if someone has a sweet tooth, they want to have cheesecake and all these cakes and everything. I think people should don't think about it, because there are so many vegan food out there. And then you just have to, you know, pay attention or maybe seek it out, because I think anything that you eat normally, there is a vegan version of it anyway. Like cheese, cake, meat, whatever. Exactly.
Okay. So that's one myth.
No, that's one myth. And I think for me, another one, protein. Okay, protein deficiency. I think people just need to get over it. I mean, like, the biggest animals on the planet, elephants, gorillas, and cows. I mean, like those animals, they are bigger than us. They need a lot of protein to grow that big.
Yeah.
What they eat vegetable, they eat plants.
Right.
So plants produce protein and animals eat plants. That's how they get their protein. And then when we eat animals to get protein, we get a second-hand protein, along with all the antibiotics and all the bad things that we do not want.
Right,
so why don't we just cut out the middleman and then go for plants? And it's healthier, and it doesn't come with all the bad stuff. There's antibiotics that I think majority of the antibiotics used, I think in China, are for animals.
Oh, definitely. I think in the world it's actually pretty crazy.
Yeah, and also I think in Chinese there's a loose in regulation in terms of antibiotics usage on animals. That's even harder to get your head around.
All right, so that's number 2.
Yeah.
Third myth.
Third myth, I think, I don't know. What would be your top question about?
One thing I've always found with sustainability is it's very easy to be dark. Like you get caught up in the emotions of whatever it is you're trying to save. Obviously you're dealing with animals, you're dealing with emotions, I've seen some of the movies, they're horrific at times.
Yeah.
How do you stay positive? How do you stay inspired?
Once I watch something, I always seek out the more positive informations around me and go to events where you interact with people who are also in the movement and who are promoting things more positively. And then I think it's the support of the community to help me stay positive, and then provide great hope to know that more and more people are becoming vegan. The community is growing all over the world. In many countries, there are more and more people joining in with the movement, whether just becoming vegan or actually become an activist or advocate for veganism. So when I see that, that's like very motivative. That's a motivation for me to stay positive.
And on the emotional side, you're operating in a business that's app, tech, veganism, and then you have the advocacy, which is very much about the emotions, the animals, the morality, veganism.
Yeah.
Which one for you is more powerful, and does it depend upon the day? Like how do you view those two? Because they're very different activities.
Yeah, totally. I'd say they're pretty equal for me. Obviously, on the animal side, it really drives me emotionally. But on the business side of things, it drives me with excitement because I can see, we live in a very digital focused world, and then we see tech startups popping up every minute around the world. So that's very exciting to see how technology can help forward and advance the vegan movement.
So what are some of the exciting things that are happening right now that it gets you up every morning it's happening?
I think it's just the amount of vegan business popping up all the time. There's vegan restaurants and then vegan tech companies, and like you mentioned, the Impossible Food, and then I think there's many more vegan food companies in the America and also in the UK, and also I think in China I'm seeing a lot of more. There are more businesses kind of investing in plant-based food or the business model towards more sustainable living. Yeah. So that's very exciting to see.
Cool. How can people, if you were talking to someone, young professional, and they want to get into the clean food, vegan movement, what do you tell them right now? What are 3 things that they should do? They want to make this their career, or they want to start a new company, or they want to become, what are 3 things that you would tell a young professional as they're looking for this opportunity?
I would say to do the research first, because for any industry that you want to get into, for any projects that you want to run, you need to understand the market, understand this field that you're going into. So do the research, and then at the same time, in the process, connect to other people who's already in the movement and also who's already in that space. The more connected you are, perhaps that will bring you more opportunities further down the line. that's certainly how I find, connecting with people. There's always different opportunities that each person, each of your contacts would bring to you, I guess. So that's one thing. Do your research, and then I guess it's just be prepared. Be prepared, because not everyone's gonna succeed. It's tough for any business, really. So you kind of need to be prepared for not succeeding a very long time. You kind of need to prepare to put in the time and put in the effort. It's hard work, if you want to be an entrepreneur or run your own business. Any startup is a marathon, and it takes perhaps take years to take off, unless you're very lucky with a really good business model and really good idea of a product, which is rare. Is rare. So that's get prepared. And then I guess the third would be stay positive. So stay motivated. Also have something that you know that you can at least survive on. So you have your alternative options, something to give you some pocket money at the same time as you're starting. I think I guess having certain skills would be really helpful. That you have something that you can offer to other people at the same time as you're starting your own thing. Have some work on the side just to catch you as a safety net.
Sure. All right, well, thank you very much for your time.
No worries. Thank you for having me.